After I accidentally fractured my calf, my girlfriend of 3 years, whom I had been dating in secret, said she would come take care of me, but I waited at home all day and didn't see her at all, until I discovered that her dream guy had posted an update. The caption read, "Long time no see, my girl. Thank you for coming to my side no matter when or where." Above the text was a photo of him and my girlfriend together. The two of them were leaning close to each other. My girlfriend wore a sexy red dress, smiling freely and boldly. I turned around and posted an update as well. "Loving you is a long, unending heartbreak." Chapter 1. The post had been up for less than half an hour. My phone suddenly rang. I glanced at the caller ID. Francesca. My finger slid across to answer, but I didn't speak. "Henry." Francesca's voice carried a hint of barely concealed panic, layered under forced composure. "What did that post of yours mean? Are you mad because I didn't show up? Listen to me, I've run into something urgent at work and couldn't get away. I'll come back as soon as I'm done." I didn't want to hear her lies. Without any hesitation, I said, "Francesca, we're breaking up." There was a brief silence on the other end. Even her breathing turned uneven. Then came her incredulous question, tinged with anger. "Breaking up? Why? Is it just because I didn't come take care of you these past couple of days?" "Henry, I told you I had something urgent. Don't throw a tantrum, and don't try to threaten me with a breakup. I'm not falling for that." I let out a soft laugh. There was bitterness in it, and a trace of self-mockery. "Something urgent? You mean the urgent matter of going on a trip with Claude, right?" Francesca froze. The line fell into dead silence. She couldn't answer, only stammer weakly in defense. How do you know?" "How I know doesn't matter." My tone was calm, without a ripple. "What matters is that when I say we're breaking up, I mean it. This is it for us." I hung up immediately. Then I blocked her number and deleted her on WeChat in one smooth motion. The whole sequence flowed effortlessly. There was no reluctance, only a sense of relief. Breaking up turned out to be much easier than I had imagined. At that moment, on a hotel terrace overseas, Claude held a glass of red wine. Watching the uneasy look on Francesca's face beside him, he gently nudged her arm and asked softly, "Francesca, what's wrong? Whose call was that? You don't look so good." Francesca quickly hid the panic in her eyes, forcing a smile and stepping away from his touch. "It's nothing, just a colleague from the TV station." Claude raised an eyebrow. A flicker of something dark passed through his eyes, but he didn't press further. He held the wine glass out to her, his tone laced with flirtation. "Don't think about unpleasant things. Have a drink with me. Consider it a thank you for coming all this way to comfort me after hearing about my divorce." Francesca shook her head and took a step back. "No, I still have something to take care of." She turned around, walked quickly to the side, and dialed her best friend Carly. The moment the call connected, her voice turned pleading. "Carly, I need a favor." Carly's voice came through, lazy with a hint of curiosity. "What's up? What could possibly be so serious that even you, Miss Francesca, can't get Henry to handle it, and have to come begging me?" Francesca bit her lip, not daring to tell the truth. She spoke vaguely. "Henry broke his lower leg. He's alone at home, and I'm worried. I can't get away right now. Could you help me take care of him?" Carly sounded surprised, her tone turning serious. "Francesca, I have to say this, what could be more important than taking care of your boyfriend with a broken leg? With Henry's cooking skills alone, who knows how many girls would be lining up for him? Don't push your luck. If he ends up leaving, you won't even have time to regret it. And don't drag me down, I still want to eat Henry's cooking." A sudden unease crept into Francesca's heart, but she quickly made an excuse. "I ran into something urgent. I'm still abroad and can't get back for now." Carly was silent for a few seconds, her tone cooling. "Got it. But are you sure you want me to take care of him? A single guy and a single girl, doesn't that seem a bit inappropriate?" Francesca let out a sigh of relief, her tone lightening. "We're best friends. I trust you. Besides, you're the only one who knows about my relationship with Henry. I don't feel comfortable asking anyone else." "Fine." Before Francesca could say anything more, Carly hung up. Even after the call ended, Francesca still felt uneasy, so she sent Carly a message. "If he's really mad, just tell him that when I get back, I'm willing to marry him openly and properly." Only after sending that message did Francesca finally relax. She picked up the wine glass on the table and slowly savored it. Chapter 2. Yesterday, while crossing the street, it was drizzling, and the road was slippery. My foot slipped, and I fell hard onto the ground. A sharp pain shot through my lower leg, cold sweat instantly forming on my forehead. A kind passerby helped me up and even called an ambulance for me. At the hospital, after an examination, it turned out my lower leg was fractured. It needed to be set in a cast, and I had to stay in bed to recover. When I got home, the first person I thought of was Francesca. I gave her a call. Her voice was gentle, and she agreed immediately, full of concern. "Henry, how could you be so careless? Wait for me, I'll come over right away to take care of you. You don't need to worry about anything. I believed her, but I waited for an entire day. From morning until noon, and from noon until nightfall, she never came. Her phone was unreachable. My messages vanished without a trace. It wasn't until I saw that post that I finally woke up, when I needed her the most. She was rushing to someone else. Her concern, her promises, they only counted when that person didn't need her. So I decided to let her go. A breakup doesn't need discussion, nor does it require anyone's approval. I contacted a moving company online. I packed up all my belongings and arranged to ship them back to my hometown. Then I booked a high-speed train ticket, the earliest one available. This city held too many memories of her. I didn't want to stay here for even one more second. Just then, the doorbell rang. Ding dong. Ding dong, urgent and insistent. Leaning on my crutches, I slowly made my way to the door and opened it. Standing outside was Carly, Francesca's best friend, and the only one who knew about our secret relationship. She was holding a thermos container. When she saw my leg in a cast, a flash of concern crossed her eyes. She hurried forward, supporting my arm carefully and helping me sit down. Henry, how did you end up like this? Instead of answering, I asked first, what are you doing here? My leg is injured, I can't cook for you. Carly really liked my cooking. She used to come over often to freeload meals. She explained, Francesca asked me to come take care of you. I looked at her and found it somewhat laughable. What was this supposed to be? She went off to accompany another man, worried that her backup, might slip away. So she sent her best friend to keep an eye on me. So I decided to be straightforward with Carly. I broke up with Francesca. Carly froze, her hand supporting me going still. She frowned, her face full of confusion. Why, weren't you two doing fine? She even told me to make sure I took good care of you. She's abroad with Claude. I said it plainly. There was no anger in my voice, only numbness. The surprise on Carly's face deepened, and she let out a sigh. After a moment of silence, she asked softly, do you really have the heart to let her go? You've loved her for so many years. Do I have the heart? I had asked myself that question too, and I told myself, yes. Francesca and I met in college. It was during the freshman welcome party that year. She wore a white dress, standing at the center of the stage, singing. The spotlight shone on her, radiant, gentle, dazzling. In that one glance, I was hooked for life. From then on, my heart never stopped racing for her. She filled my every thought. I pursued her for a long time, bringing her breakfast every day, accompanying her to late-night study sessions, bringing her hot water and heating pads when she had her period. It went on so long that chasing after her became a habit. In our senior year, Claude came to our school to see Francesca, and I happened to run into them. That's when I found out. There had always been someone in Francesca's heart, her childhood sweetheart, Claude. When I saw the light in her eyes as she looked at him, I knew, in that moment, that I should give up. At the same time, I felt a trace of resentment. Why hadn't Francesca told me earlier that she liked someone? If she had, maybe I would have let go sooner. Later, disheartened, I returned to my hometown. I took over the family restaurant and threw myself into work, trying to forget her. I thought our lives would never cross again, but a year later, Francesca suddenly called me and asked to meet. She was wearing business attire, more mature than in college, and even more radiant. She looked at me, her gaze serious, and spoke word by word. Henry, would you be willing to marry me? Chapter 3. At that moment, my heart almost stopped. I thought I had misheard. Francesca, what did you just say? I had to admit, when I heard her ask that question, my heart pounded violently. But her next sentence instantly extinguished all my expectations. We'll have a secret marriage. I've just become a radio host. A single image is better for my career. When my career stabilizes, we'll go public. Okay. From that conversation, I finally learned that her family had been pressuring her to go on blind dates. Compared to starting over with a stranger, she thought I was a decent option. She just didn't want others to know about our marriage for the time being. If you ask what the greatest regret in the world is, reaching for the stars with bare hands, loving but never obtaining, countless people in the world, yet none like me. Francesca was someone I had liked for a long time. With such an opportunity to be with her, I couldn't bring myself to reject it outright, but I also didn't want to humble myself enough to accept a marriage that felt like charity. So I told her my terms. I won't accept a secret marriage. I looked at her, my gaze firm, but I can accept a secret relationship. When you're willing to make us public, then we'll get married. Otherwise, let's forget it. Francesca hesitated for a long time. Her brows were tightly furrowed, her expression conflicted. In the end, she nodded, her tone carrying a hint of pleading. Okay, I promise. We'll keep it a secret for now, and when the time is right, I'll make you public. And so we began a secret relationship that lasted 3 years, unknown to anyone, blessed by no one, like a hidden secret that could never see the light. I pulled my thoughts back, the gentleness in my eyes fading, leaving only calm. Looking at Carly, she was sitting beside me, silently pouring me a glass of warm water. I'm going back to my hometown. Carly looked at me, took the cup from my hand, and softly relayed. Francesca asked me to pass along a message. I lifted my gaze, expression indifferent, signaling her to continue. She said when she comes back this time, she'll marry you openly, no more hiding. After hearing that, I only found it absurd, and couldn't help but laugh. I shook my head lightly. I'm not marrying her. Carly frowned, confused. Why? She's willing to make it public now. Haven't you always been waiting for this day? I spoke half jokingly, but my tone was completely serious. I'm not going to be someone's rebound guy, and I won't accept a marriage handed to me like charity. Carly froze for a moment, then smiled. That smile was clear and genuine, with a trace of sympathy. You're right, she wronged you. She didn't ask anything more. She simply helped me pack my things, carefully sorting my clothes and daily necessities one by one. Let me help. Your leg isn't in good shape, don't move around. She helped load all my luggage onto the moving truck. Then she accompanied me to the high-speed rail station, holding onto me tightly the whole way, afraid I might fall, with one leg injured. I relied on her careful support the entire journey, helping me walk, carrying bags, fetching water, getting my medicine. She took care of everything, more attentive than Francesca had ever been. On the train, she even covered me with a blanket, worried I might catch a chill. Between us, a faint, subtle sense of closeness quietly began to grow. Watching how earnestly she took care of me, a strange thought surfaced in my heart. Francesca had never treated me this well. Could this girl actually have a thing for me? It can't be that she's so hooked on my cooking that she's planning to throw herself into the game for it, right? Chapter 4. At the same time, overseas, Francesca stayed by Claude's side, following him around to visit all the local attractions. Yet she remained distracted the entire time. Without the slightest smile on her face, she kept checking her phone, her fingers repeatedly swiping the screen, refreshing Carly's messages. She was still on Henry's blacklist. Carly wasn't answering her calls either, and her messages sank into silence. The uneasiness in her heart grew stronger and stronger, as if something bad was about to happen. Claude noticed it all. He gently wrapped an arm around her shoulders and asked softly, "Francesca, what's wrong? You've been so absent-minded." Francesca forced a smile and lightly pushed his hand away. "It's nothing. I'm just a bit tired." Claude smiled, his tone deliberately gentle. "Francesca, getting through this divorce. I really have you to thank for staying by my side. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't know what to do." He tried to move closer, creating an intimate atmosphere, his hand reaching for her waist again, but Francesca instinctively avoided him. Again and again, she pushed him away, a trace of resistance in her eyes, for some reason. In that moment, the only face that flashed through her mind was Henry's. She remembered how good Henry had been to her, how he had taken care of her so attentively when she was sick. A trace of guilt and unease surfaced in her heart. "Claude, let's go back home soon," she said softly, her tone firm. "Carly and I returned to my hometown together. As soon as we arrived at the door, my parents came out to greet us. The moment they saw the cast on my leg, they immediately became anxious and hurried over. Henry, how did you end up like this? Does it hurt? Come inside and rest. Don't stand out here in the wind." I was just about to explain that I had slipped and fallen, when their gaze landed on Carly. Their expressions instantly turned warm, their faces lighting up with smiles. "And who is this?" my mother asked eagerly, holding Carly's hand, looking more and more pleased the longer she looked. "Is she Henry's girlfriend?" "What a lovely girl." Francesca and I had been in a secret relationship for 3 years. My parents had known of her existence the whole time, but they had never met her, not even seen a photo. I was about to explain that Carly and I were just friends, but Carly spoke first. Her voice was clear, her tone natural, with a hint of shyness. "Yes, Auntie, I'm Henry's girlfriend. My name is Carly." I turned to look at her in shock, my eyes wide, my lips parting as I tried to say something. Carly calmly leaned closer, gently nudging me with her arm. Then, in a voice only the two of us could hear, she whispered in my ear, "You wouldn't want your parents to find out you got cheated on, would you?" I froze. Looking into her serious eyes, I felt an inexplicable chill. That was when I realized, this girl, who seemed gentle and well-behaved on the surface, actually had a slightly cunning, mischievous side deep down. Chapter 5. I let out a helpless laugh, then nodded, not exposing her. My mother beamed with joy, holding Carly's hand and asking question after question. "Carly, where are you from? How old are you? How long have you known our Henry?" Carly answered each one patiently, without the slightest hint of impatience. My father chimed in as well, his face full of satisfaction. Good Good. Our Henry is truly lucky to have found such a wonderful girlfriend like you. A few days later, Francesca and Claude returned to the country. Claude had once been a somewhat well-known actor, having starred in several popular TV dramas. After gaining fame, he was noticed by a wealthy heiress. Not long into their relationship, they rushed into marriage. That extravagant wedding drained nearly all of Claude's savings. Yet unexpectedly, his wife was reluctant to officially register the marriage. A few years later, he even discovered that she had been cheating on him. This time, he returned home to make a comeback and reclaim everything that once belonged to him. At the airport, a crowd of media and fans gathered, flashes going off non-stop. Claude held Francesca's hand, facing the cameras with a gentle smile. The two appeared together in the same frame, looking perfectly matched, instantly captured by the media. Francesca, however, showed no sign of a smile. She remained passive the entire time, yet couldn't easily pull her hand away. After leaving the airport, with nowhere else to stay, they returned to the apartment that Francesca and I used to share. The moment she stepped inside, Francesca instinctively looked around, searching for me. Seeing her distracted state, Claude spoke slowly. Francesca, you're a popular host now, with a lot of attention on you. My agent suggested we could promote ourselves as a duo, cross-promoting each other. It would help me make a quick comeback, and it would benefit your career too. Would you be willing to help me? Francesca's expression stiffened, hesitation flickering across her face. After a long pause, she finally said, "Sorry, Claude, I can't promote as a duo with you." A trace of surprise and displeasure flashed in Claude's eyes. Then he stepped closer, his gaze turning suggestive, his tone laced with temptation. "What if, Francesca, I propose to you?" He suddenly reached out, wrapping an arm tightly around her waist, not giving her a chance to break free. Lowering his head, he kissed her, with a hint of forcefulness. Francesca's pupils shrank, her body stiffening as she instinctively tried to push him away. But his grip was too tight, she couldn't. "Francesca," he murmured softly, the kiss deepening. "After everything I've been through, I finally understand. You're the one who's always been by my side. Before, I only saw you as a friend, but now, I don't want to miss you again." Still entangled in the moment, they moved step by step toward the study. Claude lifted Francesca onto the desk, his hands wandering restlessly over her. Just as the atmosphere reached its peak, Francesca suddenly felt something was off. She quickly got down from the desk and opened a drawer. "That was where I used to keep my recipe notebooks. It was completely empty. The recipes I always used were gone." Her heart began pounding wildly as she hurried to the wardrobe, a bad feeling creeping in. She opened the door. Inside, there was nothing. All of Henry's clothes and belongings were gone, without leaving a single trace. Even his most treasured set of kitchen utensils in the kitchen had disappeared. Chapter 6. In that instant, Francesca's face turned deathly pale, her whole body trembling. She finally realized it. Henry was gone. Gone for good. He hadn't waited for her explanation, nor had he given her any chance. Seeing her completely shaken, Claude frowned slightly. After a long moment, he asked in a low voice, "Francesca, have you fallen for someone else?" Francesca slowly nodded, tears welling up in her eyes, her voice as light as the wind. "Yes." Claude's tone grew heavier. "Who is it?" "Henry." The name fell softly, carrying endless guilt. Claude's expression changed. After a brief silence, he explained in a low voice, "You and Henry broke up. It's probably because of that post I made. I just posted it on a whim. I didn't expect him to misunderstand." Francesca suddenly looked up, a trace of accusation in her eyes. "What post?" Claude took out his phone and showed her the post he had made. Francesca's expression trembled. She had been unable to understand how Henry found out that she had stood him up to go see Claude. So this was the reason. She stared at Claude. "How do you even have him on your contacts?" Claude explained. "When I came to visit you in college, Henry added me." Francesca didn't blame him. Instead, her heart sank little by little, her whole body turning cold. She knew that even if she blamed him, it wouldn't change anything. She took Claude to a hotel. The entire way, she remained silent, her face pale. Claude tried to talk to her, but she only responded with perfunctory nods. Then she returned to the apartment alone. The empty room had no trace of warmth. The cold air made her shiver uncontrollably. Everywhere, there were traces of Henry. His presence still seemed to linger in the air, yet he himself was nowhere to be found. With trembling hands, she dialed Carly's number, her voice choked with emotion. "Carly, where is Henry? Tell me, where is he?" On the other end, Carly spoke calmly, though there was a hint of unease in her tone. "I'm traveling. I don't know." "Carly, didn't you promise me you'd take care of him? How could you not know where he is?" Francesca pleaded desperately, tears finally streaming down her face. "I know I was wrong. I really know I was wrong. I want to find him. I want to apologize. I want to win him back. Carly was silent for a few seconds, her tone turning cold. Francesca, Henry told me you went behind his back to see that man, didn't you? If you can't let go of Claude, why drag Henry into this mess? With that, Carly hung up. Francesca clutched her phone, collapsing onto the floor, sobbing uncontrollably. Chapter 7. After hanging up on Francesca, Carly put away the cold expression on her face and turned to look at me at the dining table. I was eating with my grandfather. He kept putting food into my bowl, urging me to eat more and nourish my body. Carly walked over with a smile, sat down beside me, and continued eating. The table was filled with dishes my grandfather had personally cooked, perfect in color, aroma, and taste. Her eyes lit up as she kept praising the food, her chopsticks never stopping. This is so good. Grandpa, your cooking is incredible, better than the chefs in restaurants. Grandpa beamed with joy and quickly added more food to her bowl. If it's good, eat more. Carly, come over often in the future, Grandpa will cook for you. I couldn't help but feel a bit proud. Looking at Carly, I spoke with a hint of showing off. Of course, my great-grandfather used to be an imperial chef, cooking exclusively for the emperor. Carly looked stunned, her eyes wide. Whoa, your family has that kind of background? That's insane. After dinner, Carly and I sat on the sofa chatting. What are you planning to do next? Stay in your hometown for good? Inherit the family restaurant? My tone was calm yet firm, with a trace of anticipation in my eyes. It's a family craft, I can't let it be lost. I also want to carry on Grandpa's life's work. Carly looked at me, a gentle smile in her eyes. Whoever marries you in the future will be so lucky, getting to eat such amazing food every day. During this period, Carly had been staying at my house, taking care of me while I recovered, spending time together day and night. I wasn't clueless, I could see her feelings, and I could feel how good she was to me. I've always been straightforward and disliked beating around the bush. I looked straight into her eyes and asked seriously, do you like me? Carly's cheeks flushed red. She choked slightly and coughed a few times. Her gaze darted away, not daring to meet mine, as she muttered in denial. You're so full of yourself. Who would like you? I raised an eyebrow slightly, pretending to be disappointed as I lowered my head. Oh, if you don't, then forget it. Guess I was just imagining things. She immediately panicked, reaching out to tug at my arm. Her voice flustered. No, that's not what I meant. She lowered her head, her face bright red, mumbling softly. Actually, I like you a little. I couldn't help but smile. I reached out and ruffled her hair, my tone gentle. What do you like about me? Carly thought seriously for a moment, then looked up at me with clear eyes, speaking earnestly. I like that you're emotionally stable, gentle, and patient. You were with Francesca for so many years. I've never seen you lose your temper. No matter how she treated you, you always tolerated her. And you're kind, you treat everyone around you well. Listening to her seriously listing off all these things, I felt a bit embarrassed. Even I didn't know I had that many good qualities. So I spoke softly, my tone carrying a hint of fondness. Since you've taken care of me for so long, do you want to give us a try? Carly's eyes instantly lit up, as if filled with stars, and a bright smile spread across her face. She nodded vigorously, her voice tinged with excitement. You better keep your word. Chapter 8. I didn't expect that such a simple post from me would stir up such a massive uproar online. Back then, to be with Francesca, I moved to her city. Since I couldn't find a suitable job right away, I chose to become a food content creator. Over 3 years, I accumulated more than 2 million followers, because I couldn't make my relationship with Francesca public, and I'm someone who loves to share. I subtly shared bits and pieces of our relationship in my live streams and posts. Not long ago, I posted, "Loving you is a long, unending heartbreak." The video I paired with it was a side profile of Francesca. The ever-resourceful netizens managed to identify her from just that single profile shot, and discovered that she was the same woman rumored to be Claude's girlfriend at the airport not long ago. Overnight, the post was wildly shared and commented on. The likes quickly surpassed 1 million, and the comment section exploded. The entire internet was thrown into an uproar. Hashtag Francesca Claude hashtag popular host cheating hashtag heartbroken food blogger betrayed hashtag. The hashtags shot straight to the trending charts, occupying several top spots. Claude and Francesca were immediately subjected to massive online backlash. Claude's comment section was flooded with insults. People even dug up his past, how he had been cheated on and divorced. What could have earned him sympathy instead turned into more criticism. Got cheated on, so now you cheat on others. No morals. Serves you right for being cheated on. Francesca's radio station also received numerous complaints, demanding her dismissal. Claude was scolded relentlessly by his agent, an entire hour of yelling over the phone. Claude, have you lost your mind? You just made your comeback and now you're involved in a scandal like this. Do you even want a career in the entertainment industry? The whole internet is dragging you right now. If you don't fix this immediately, your comeback is finished. He panicked. After hanging up, he rushed to find Francesca. The moment he saw her, he grabbed her arm, his tone urgent. Francesca, you have to get Henry to come out and clarify this. Otherwise, I'm done for. You know I didn't interfere in your relationship. Francesca remained silent, her face pale, her eyes hollow. She didn't even know where I was. How could she get me to clarify anything? I can't find him. Her voice was hoarse, carrying a trace of despair. Only after the breakup did she realize that aside from knowing which city Henry was from, she knew nothing else about him. Through various connections, Claude finally managed to track down my hometown address. His arrival didn't surprise me much. It was unexpected, yet somehow inevitable. These past few days, with my injured leg, I stayed at home most of the time. Occasionally, I went out with Carly, but otherwise I spent time on my phone. I was aware of the online backlash against Claude. After thinking it over, I agreed to meet him. We met at a quiet cafe. The moment Claude sat down, he began explaining in a gentle tone. Henry, I came here to explain. Francesca and I are innocent. I just went through being cheated on myself. I understand that kind of pain. I would never do something that unethical. I interrupted him expressionlessly. I'm not interested in your story. Just tell me, what do you want from me? Claude's expression darkened slightly. Still, he forced himself to remain patient. Francesca is really upset about you breaking up with her. I hope you won't give up on her over something minor. I let out a cold laugh. Something minor? I was bedridden with a broken leg, and she stood me up to go abroad with you. That's a minor. Claude grew a bit irritated, but he still held back. Henry, I know you're still angry, but there's something I have to tell you. After this divorce, I confessed to Francesca, but she said the one she likes is you. She couldn't see her own feelings clearly before, but this time, she's figured it out. Chapter 9. He stared at me intently, anticipation burning in his eyes as he waited for my reaction. I lifted my coffee, took a sip, and said casually, You're divorced and going for a second marriage. It's normal she doesn't want you. I stood up, ready to leave. Claude snapped, grabbing my arm as he revealed his true intention. That post of yours got me and Francesca dragged online. I want you to release a statement to clarify things. I stopped and turned back to look at him. Clarify what? Say. Claude clenched his teeth. Say that your girlfriend isn't Francesca. I looked at him in silence for a few seconds. Then I took out my phone and opened a video. The footage showed the study of that apartment. Claude holding Francesca, kissing her, touching her. The video was clear, the audio unmistakable. It was from the live stream camera I had installed earlier. I didn't bother removing it when I left. Later, I had been curious about how Francesca would react after discovering I was gone, and unintentionally recorded everything. I placed the phone in front of Claude, my voice cold as ice. If you show up in front of me again, I'll release this video to the public. Think carefully about what will happen to you then. Claude's expression changed drastically. Unwilling to accept it, he threatened back. Aren't you afraid of ruining Francesca? You two were in love, after all. I let out a mocking laugh, my gaze icy. Weren't you the one treating her like a backup all along? Stop pretending to be a good person. Claude's face turned pale, then flushed, then pale again. He couldn't say a word, defeated and shaken. He went back to Francesca and told her the truth. Henry saw what happened that day, on the surveillance footage. Francesca was struck as if by lightning, her face turning deathly pale. Claude, tell me where Henry is. After getting my address from Claude, Francesca rushed over overnight. Henry, listen to me, let me explain. I didn't cheat. Her eyes were red, tears streaming down her face. I stopped walking and looked at her calmly. Claude and we didn't go all the way. I came to my senses. The one I love is you. I listened quietly, my heart unmoved. Only after she finished did I speak slowly. My voice was calm, but every word cut deep. Francesca, I watched, through the camera, as you kissed another man. I watched him hold you on that desk. I watched you take off your clothes, piece by piece. And now you're telling me you're innocent? Just because you didn't go all the way. Don't you feel sick saying that? Francesca trembled violently, tears pouring down. Henry, I know I was wrong. I really know I was wrong. I couldn't let go of Claude before, but during these 3 years with you, I truly wanted to build a life together. When I asked you to marry me, I meant it. I was just confused for a moment. Can you give me another chance? I looked at her, crying so humbly. There was not a trace of sympathy in me. Francesca, do you know what I'm most grateful for in my life? She looked up at me, her eyes filled with tears. Word by word, I spoke clearly. What I'm most grateful for is that when you asked for a secret marriage, I refused. Look at you now. You want your career, and you want love, and you expect me, your backup, to wait for you unconditionally. If I had really married you, who knows how long I'd have to wear that label of being cheated on. Francesca's face turned pale, her voice trembling. How can you say that about me? I looked at her. Am I wrong? I turned around and walked away decisively, cutting off 3 years of feelings completely, without looking back. Chapter 10. Francesca collapsed onto the ground, covering her face as she cried uncontrollably. At that moment, Claude called again, his voice anxious. Well, is Henry willing to make a statement? No. Francesca shook her head, her eyes empty. Claude completely panicked. He hurriedly suggested, then you post something yourself. Just say the person in the photo isn't you. Suppress the public opinion first. Francesca nodded numbly. Early the next morning, Francesca showed up again at the entrance of my family restaurant, carrying a lunchbox she had made herself. Her eyes were bloodshot, her face exhausted. Henry, her voice was hoarse. I made this breakfast for you. She held it out, her hands covered in burn blisters. I looked at her hands without the slightest reaction. I took the lunchbox, turned around, and dumped it straight into the dog's bowl at the entrance. Our dog was used to eating meals cooked by me, my father, and my grandfather. It sniffed the food, then turned away in disgust without taking a bite. I looked at Francesca and spoke calmly. See that? Even a dog won't eat what you cooked. Francesca broke down instantly, tears pouring out. I worked so hard to make that for you. And you humiliate me like this. I looked at her calmly. Having your sincerity trampled on hurts, doesn't it? Then why did you treat me that way back then? Francesca froze in place, unable to say a word. After a long time, her voice came out weak, filled with regret. I'm sorry. I turned and went back inside. Carly walked over to me and asked softly, why didn't you let me go out? If I stepped in, she might finally give up. I gently raised my hand and pinched the tip of her nose, my tone soft. Letting my current girlfriend deal with my ex, that would make me a pretty lousy boyfriend. Carly's eyes grew slightly moist as she leaned gently into my arms. She whispered, I don't like competing, but I hate losing. In your heart from now on, there can only be me. I held her tightly and promised softly, okay, only you. Francesca left in a daze. When she returned to the station, she was immediately called into her boss's office. Francesca, you're fired. Her whole body trembled. Why? Your cheating scandal is all over the internet. I receive complaints about you every single day, and you still have the nerve to ask why. That one sentence shattered all her pride. Normally, a station wouldn't interfere with an employee's private life, but Francesca's situation had blown up. She had no backing, and many people were eyeing her position. Being fired was inevitable. She returned to the apartment in a daze. Lying on the bed, she hugged the blanket that still carried Henry's scent. It was the only thing left in the house that still had anything to do with him. Chapter 11. At that moment, her mother called, her tone anxious. Francesca, people outside are saying you cheated with Claude. What's going on? Francesca was just about to explain, when her mother sent her a video. In the video, Claude was giving an interview, looking completely innocent. He pushed all the blame onto Francesca. Francesca hid the fact that she had a boyfriend. She kept approaching me on her own. I had just gone through a divorce and was emotionally vulnerable, so I made a mistake. I'm a victim too. Every bit of blame was dumped onto Francesca. She trembled with rage, her eyes burning with fury. She rushed out, drove straight to Claude, and confronted him sharply. Claude, why are you doing this to me? You were the one who called me and asked me to come abroad to be with you. Those reporters at the airport, you arranged them too, didn't you? Why are you putting all the blame on me? Claude's face held nothing but indifference. Francesca, your reputation is already ruined. It's better if one person takes the fall than for both of us to go down. When I make a comeback, I won't forget you. Francesca completely broke down. You bastard. You've been using me all along. From beginning to end, I was just your backup. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't have lost Henry. I wouldn't have lost my job. I have nothing left now. She grabbed his collar, looking almost insane. At first, Claude tried to calm her down, but soon he lost patience and shoved her away forcefully. This is all your own doing. I made one call, and you came running to me overseas. Did I beg you to come? He looked at her, his gaze cold and mocking. Do you know how Henry described you? A backup. That single word was like the final straw. It completely crushed Francesca. She lost control. From her bag, she pulled out a fruit knife. Under Claude's horrified gaze, she stabbed him viciously. A few months later, I received a call from Francesca's mother. On the phone, the elderly woman's voice was choked with sobs. Henry. Francesca, she killed Claude. I froze. For a long time, I couldn't say a word. She was sentenced to 20 years. She wants to see you one last time. I thought about it, and in the end, I agreed. But before that, I let Carly know. After all, we had already met each other's parents and were preparing to get married. Carly didn't object. I went to the detention center. Inside the visiting room, Francesca wore a prison uniform. Her hair was messy, her eyes dull. The radiance she once had was long gone. When she saw me, she forced a faint smile. "Thank you for coming to see me." I was silent for a long time before speaking softly. "I came to say I'm sorry." She froze. I said, "That post I made back then. I did think that one day, if your cheating got exposed, it would be a way to get back at you. But I never thought things would turn out like this." Francesca suddenly smiled. There was a strange sense of relief in that smile. "Henry, it's okay. I don't blame you at all, actually. I'm kind of happy. Back then, when you broke up with me so decisively, I thought you had already stopped loving me, that being with me was just an obsession." She looked at me, her eyes glistening with tears. "But you hated me, and that means you really loved me once." I didn't respond. She had placed too much weight on love, so much that she lost her sanity, destroyed herself, and ruined others. "Take care of yourself in there," I said softly. "Try to get out sooner." I stood up, turned around, and walked away without looking back. As I stepped out of the visiting room, sunlight poured over me. Carly stood quietly not far away, waiting for me. When she saw me, she gave a gentle smile, warm and pure.